Okay. This episode, we literally got to see hypocrites displaying hypocrisy at its absolute best.
And I'm like, come on through, Cookie. I'm going up on my soapbox. That's basically it. Let's talk about drag and all its forms. What, Cookie?
Hey guys, welcome. This is my review for American Crime Season 2, Episode 7. Now, there was a lot of hypocrisy being shown in this episode, which was good. It was very interesting to see the turnabout and all of that. But we started off the episode with they were like confessionals of teachers that were actually at Columbine. They were the actual people. And they discussed a lot of the feelings and things surrounding mass trauma because people don't really understand it. Some people just downright don't believe in it, but people don't really understand how deep it actually is. There was also the mother of a child named AJ who actually had committed suicide he was a gay child due to bullying and all of these things, and not the right type of support from the school and all that. And they went through some of her situation. Remember, these were real people from these real situations. Now, I thought personally it was necessary for what the subject matter is, but I think they did too much. They did too much. There was so much of it. It was like after every commercial break darn there, there were these sections. I'm like, you had enough footage to really do a small docu-series. And this was not the place for that, because it started to take away from the story. And that's what I didn't like, because it's a story and that kind of thing, and we're watching a TV show, and we kind of just threw this on top, and that is more serious because that's actually real life. That's actual real people that we're dealing with. These were not actors acting out. So it kind of, to me, took away something from them, and it basically it overshadowed the show aspect. It was just too much. One or two would have been fine, but all throughout the show, I just thought was too much. But that's my personal opinion. You guys tell me what you thought down in the comments, which I know you guys will. Okay, so anyway, so we had that all going on, and there was the one teacher that did stick out to me, and she said, I still love the shooter, from Columbine. She said, because I love all my students. So that just kind of stuck out to me, and I was like, wow. Wow. So, cool. Okay, so, and when I say hypocrisy, I don't mean any of those people from Columbine or any of the real people that were there. I'll actually explain to you as we go through the review where the hypocrisy, in my opinion, came in. Okay, so let's go on. All right, so the first thing we see is, first piece of hypocrisy, Eric's mom rushing into the house. She has this money. She sold everything. She's crazy. She is absolutely has lost her mind, and it has nothing to do with anybody else. She has issues. She's come in. She's trying to talk Peter into leaving with her. She does abduct him, basically. She takes him, and she goes. They left. She convinced him that Eric's all fucked up, that the dad is all fucked up, there's no hope for Eric, and that the dad has done something to Eric that made Eric be gay, which is her version of what's so fucked up about Eric. Whatever happened to loving your child? Crazy. But you're so, and that's where I say hypocrisy, you're so in love with your children that you're going to take this one and run on off. But at the same time, What parent turns their children against each other? And this is what we've been watching her do. You literally turn that child against his brother and his father. Good luck to you, honey. Later in the program, you actually see the father is very frustrated and he goes to the authorities to try to get some help. And they're telling him, even though y'all have shared custody, it's not an abduction. Crazy. He's just seeing the wrong person. If he goes back, and I'm sure he will go back and keep digging and prying, there's something that can be done about that. But just a mess. Just an absolute mess. That woman irritates the hell out of me. Okay, then we see Leslie. Leslie, the headmaster, she's having a hard time. Which naturally, when all the details come out, she would, because she knows that Taylor was literally sitting there for over an hour waiting to kill her. It was her that was supposed to get it first. They actually even found the list as well. So all that information ends up circulating about the list with all the names. It was, her and Kevin and Wes and Eric. So all their names are actually on the list. So they're kind of, they got the full picture of what it really was. So that's the best. She's having a hard time dealing. But she ended up going back to work earlier than what they thought she was going to come back. She actually did end up going back in, and the reception was less than good. Okay. So, but we'll get to that in a minute. Coach Dan, before Leslie came back to work, he's pissed with Leslie still. He's going on and on. He's talking shit, and he's blaming Leslie for everything. More hypocrisy. And you're going to see what I'm talking about. He blames her for everything. Blames her for how things went down. Blames her for the situation with Eric. Everything is falling on Leslie's shoulders. He is even... he still said, my boy didn't touch that boy. He didn't do it. He didn't rape him. He this, that, thing, and the other. Okay. And we're just watching it. I'm saying, I don't like Coach Dan. I think you're very self-centered. And it gets proven later on in this episode. So he goes on with all of that business. Then he actually ends up speaking to people that are higher up and board members and things like that about Leslie. And he's getting this rolling ball going of like basically trying to get rid of her. Like she's no good for the school. She's no good for the position and all of that. And I was like, I can't believe him. I mean, he was so diligent. He wasn't diligent. He hasn't been diligent about anything else. But basically trying to have her removed, so much diligence. I said, ain't this something else? A mess. Anyway, so the lawyer, the mother, Taylor's lawyer, basically wants Taylor to take a plea. And his mother's like, no, not at all. So they're not seeing eye to eye on that at all. So we don't know exactly what's going to go down with that. Taylor did actually sit with his mother and told her, why he did what he did. And it was all about the fact that he was really just tired. He was tired of, feeling how he felt. And he was tired of them picking his mom. And he was in a dark corner. And it took him into another dark corner. And shit just happened, So, which was, don't take a brain surgeon to figure that out. Okay, so Eric's dad ends up talking to him and basically lets him know. Because remember, Eric got the bruised lip and all this from the attack. And his dad told him, I know what's going on because I've seen those sites that you've been going on. So he's then clocked Eric's mess. And he told him, you're trying to kill yourself in any way possible is what you're doing. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? And he basically let him know, whenever you are ready to talk, I am actually here for you, but I can't help you if you don't want me to help you. But I know what you're doing, and you need to stop. So I'm like, okay, Dad, you getting it. You're getting it. Okay, so I'm cool. So the dad do got a lot on his plate. He got Eric with his craziness, and then he got the mama with her crazy shit, and the other son. Kevin's parents are they're at a crossroads. Now that Kevin's name was on that paper, it has changed Terry's outlook on everything. it really took Terry and took her into a tailspin about who she is and how she behaves. And I'm loving actually seeing the change in Terry. But the father is actually a son of a bitch. He's just quiet, but he's more of a son of a bitch than Terry was. We weren't paying attention to him. We've been so irritated watching Terry that the father's a motherfucker. He literally told her, I feel vindicated. That woman is crazy and her kid is a murderer. And I feel vindicated now. And she didn't agree with that. She didn't like the comment. She didn't agree with it at all. She walked on off and left. Then we seen her meeting with the woman, the African-American woman that she fired from the job. And the woman was very bitter with her. And I can imagine, because you done fucked up her livelihood. You done took her money away. You done screwed her life up on some bullshit. And she basically was apologizing to her, and the woman was like, really? So now what do you want from me? Now you're trying to clear your conscience with me? Because I seen the shit in the paper. I seen it. And she started telling her, my son's name was on the paper to be killed. And she's explaining to her how that's changed her and really wanting to apologize and wanting this woman to accept her apology. And they didn't really go into whether the woman did or not, and I don't believe she did, because I could imagine I probably would have still been so pissed at her, like, girl, fuck you, honey. But that's where they kind of left that off. But it's good to see the change in Terry. I don't know what's going to go on with that dad, because that dad is in another space completely. He's in another space altogether. Then we actually see Eric have a conversation with Kevin. And they go back and forth. And Eric was under the impression that Kevin set the whole thing up. And he's telling Eric, and Eric's telling Kevin, yeah, you sent them to my house, and they came to my house and they bullied me into setting him up. And he felt bad about setting him up and all that. Not really so much about setting him up, but more so that Wes had gotten killed is where the problem was. And he was saying, they're your people. Kevin's like, I didn't set that up. I didn't do that. But if they want to act out, that's not my problem. He's like, it is your problem. They're your boys. You're the captain. You're the lead. And they listen to you and they follow you, which is what I said. Subliminally, yeah, you did set it up. You may not have meant to, but you did. Yeah, boy's dead now because of you and your bullshit. But whatever. Whatever. I don't think that was his plan, for real. But subliminally, it did happen that way. And when they get to court, that's how it's going to all come out. But whatever. So Kevin was like, no. And then he flips right over, and you got to see that other part of Kevin, that little self-centered, arrogant part. Who else are you telling this to? And that's what he's like, I'm telling it to you. Point proven. Me. More hypocrisy. So I said, okay. So Leslie, in the meantime, between time, has been told about Dan's moves against her and how the board was kind of going to be coming for her. So she went to actually talk to him. Oh, and Coach Dan was just a mug to her. He got real cute with her and just going to tell her everything he thought to her. Everybody got hurt in this. Everybody except for you. Meanwhile, Leslie been carrying the whole thing on her shoulders. She's been doing all the dirty work and taking all the bad rap, which is just doing her job. She's doing her job. She's doing exactly what Leland School hired her to do. She is that first line of defense. She is the one that wears the ugly black cape. She is the one who everybody will be mad at. But it wasn't her personal decisions. She wasn't happy with those decisions she made. She really wasn't. She was doing her job and protecting all of them and the school and the school's best interest, but not Leslie's. And now that the shit that hit the fan, she's standing by her goddamn self. So that's just a lesson. All money is not good money. And when shit rolls, it rolls downhill. And a lot of times, the person that's doing all the dirt and saving everybody ends up standing by their goddamn self when shit gets too hot. But that's exactly what's showing up here. So, then he even had the nerve to say to her, and you wonder why Taylor came here looking for you. Truly, if he'd have knew the things you were saying, Coach Dan, he'd have been looking for your ass, because you're the one that done badmouthed him the most. You're the one that done tried to cover up shit the most with those boys. Anyway, but very shortly after that, we actually got to see that Dan's daughter ends up coming to her, the drug dealer, that drug dealing bitch, she comes clean to him and, tells him that she did it, if she took her mother's drugs and some drugs she got from other people and sold them to Taylor because she's feeling really bad, really bad. She has some morality. And here we go with the hypocrisy again. That goddamn Coach Dan took her phone and busted it all up and threw her SIM card and crunched it up in the food process, in the not food processor, in the garbage disposal. Really stupid. Really stupid. Taylor got texts, and whoever else she was dealing with got texts, and the phone company got it all. He's so stupid. But anyway, the whole point is, who's the hypocrite now, baby? Who's the hypocrite now? And because you went right into cover-up mode. With all your morality, you was talking to Leslie. Now you trying to cover up for your daughter. And it wasn't really so much for his daughter. The more he talked, when the mother came home, he still placing blame. It was your drugs, this, that, thing, and the other. But when we see the mother smoking weed in the beginning of the season, when that motherfucker smoking weed with her, it's just her name they got the weed under. With her dealer and things. But it's still placing blame. He ain't really worried about it. It's about him and his image is what he's trying to protect, not so much that girl. And the mother was not on board with that bullshit at all. The mother was like, I got the sense that the mother was like, well, we're going to turn this bitch in, and it is what it is. And he told her, we're not going to say nothing. This, that, thing, and the other. I was like, Coach Dan, you're a hot ass mess, just so you know. A hot mess. Okay, so we actually, one other thing in the other part of the story, over at Marshall, we see that the principal had actually went to his superior and he's getting no help. None. They're just blowing him off, still. They're blowing him off like nothing's going on. He's not getting any support from the board or his superior. So we see that going on. I'm like, I don't really know. That piece of the story is not holding a whole lot of water in a glass for me. I'm trying to keep up with him, but it's not all that interesting. But I feel bad for him. It's like, it's crazy how he's not getting any support. And again, he's the one that's being held, being left holding the bag for everything. And he don't even, he doesn't even agree with the things that his job is making him have to do. All money is not good money. Anyway, so Sebastian, the guy that we keep seeing in the wings. Sebastian is an internet wizard, okay? That's what his whole issue is. Sebastian drove all the way to the town and finally got his way to meet Taylor's mom. And they actually talked, and he's telling her, I understand you're not getting any help from the authorities. You're not getting any help from the school or any of these things. And you beat them at their own game. You beat them the way that they started beating on you through the internet. Because you can move around and you move quickly and you can move around unseen. The same way they did you. So he's getting on board and she's like all in. So shit's getting ready to hit the fan. She's getting the right people that don't mind doing things a little bit wrong to get what's right. So this is getting really, really interesting. Very, very interesting. And that's basically it. That's all that we got out of this episode. All that I got out of this episode. You guys leave it in the comments. Tell me where you are, what you thought about what went on. And, we'll go back and forth in those comments until next week. All right, guys. So that's it. Thumbs up, thumbs down. You guys know how that all works. And I will talk to you in the comments. And we'll see you back on screen again next week. All right, guys. Bye.